Unplugged minds, we taking over.
Unplugged too. What's up? I'm Tam and I'll be your guide as we take this deep dive into the collective consciousness. So prepare your inner and outer spaces to receive and enjoy the vibes. I'm going to be talking about Lilith based on the Bible. I'm about to give y'all my rendition of what's really happening in the Garden of Eden. If you have like an old school Bible, if you look, the ones like with the glossary in the back, if you look, it will tell you that Lilith is Adam's first wife. She was depicted as the serpent in the Garden of Eden. So this is an 1887 painting of Lilith. And as you can see, this serpent is embodying her from head to toe. The head of the snake is at her head, tail of the snake is at her feet. She represents the snake. It's really Kundalini energy, divine feminine energy, but let's just, the story, Adam and Eve and the snake in the garden. So, the serpent is most often identified with the hubristic Satan and sometimes with Lilith. Like I said, she was his first wife. They was created at the same time. Male and female created he, them, and called their name Adam. So we're really talking about the creation of one being, which is a woman. But again, we're going to go with the story. A hermaphroditic woman at that. He wanted to dominate her, but she knew she didn't. That's not the case. They were created at the same time and they have the same body parts. So they're not, because they're hermaphrodites, both of them. So they're parthenogenic, and she knew she don't need him to, create life. So I don't need no head and authority. There's equal opportunity over here, you beat me. So they say she was evil and 8 kids, but really she was not evil. She just, knew who she was. And I believe she just took her kids with her that she was having parthenogenically. She went to what they call the city of the sea, which a reference to the land of Nod. So Lilith left the Garden of Eden and fled to the land of Nod, where she continued to give birth parthenogenically. A parthenogenic birth is an easier birth, and it doesn't take 9 months, apparently, according to this story. Lilith living beside the Red Sea, giving birth to children of lascivious demons at the rate of 100 per day. So I don't think her kids are demons. I mean, they just demonized her because she don't, she won't submit or whatever. So they're just, they're a little mad. So once this happened, God then puts Adam to sleep. What he's doing is, he may have put him to sleep, but he also put him to sleep. Meaning, he removed his memory of parthenogenic births, making him a sheep, lowering his consciousness, and also removing his womb, his feminine aspect, to create Eve, which is why men don't have wombs, because they were split to create this woman who now doesn't know herself and is, programmed to just submit to him because she believes that she needs him in order to have a baby. When he creates her, he tells them to be fruitful and multiply. So they are having sex and they are having kids, but they just aren't aware of it. They don't know that that's what they're doing. They don't know anything else. They've never done anything else, so they're not aware of it. But in order for them to be fruitful and multiply, that means fruitful, have sex, multiply, make babies. Right? So they're having kids. It's just they don't know. Until the serpent shows up. Lilith. The light bearer. Because she's coming with the truth. I think they're having kids. Because why would he tell them to be fruitful and multiply? And then they not do that. Unless it could be though that they're not, and that's because Eve doesn't know she's capable of it, and all is mind. So if you believe that you can't, you can't. You know, you are creating the world around you. What you believe is what you will manifest. So maybe they're not having kids, but when Lilith show up, she activates something. Like she tells Eve if she eat of the fruit that she will surely not die. Or something like that. Basically saying, if we have sex, you're gonna have a baby. You know what I'm saying? Because you're parthenogenic. You have a womb. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have a baby. And like it was saying, Lilith is pushing them out. You know what I'm saying? So Eve has to be too. Unless, when he put them to sleep and, was messing with their DNA and all this kind of stuff, he stopped it. Once she had sex with Lilith, she did have a kid. And I think it was Cain. And I think it was Cain because in the Bible, why is he automatically like shunned and like treated as less than? I think it's because he was created parthenogenically. And if you think about it, he's a farmer. His offering was fruits and vegetables, right? Which is a bloodless sacrifice. Meanwhile, Abel gives the firstborn of his flock, which is a blood sacrifice. And when we're dealing with a war god who prefers blood sacrifices, you know what I'm saying? I think that's why he prefers Abel's offering, because of the kind of God he is. And he's not, you know what I'm saying? The bloodless sacrifices to, nature, feminine type thing, I bet that's why he knew to go to the land of Nod, because he knew his mama was over there. You know what I'm saying? When they have Cain and Abel, like those are their first two kids, because that's the first two that they had after their eyes were opened to what they are and who they are and what their body parts can actually do. Which is why they were punished, because to create life is to be a God, and he don't want them aware of that, because he wants to be the only one. Okay, well, really, this thing is really talking about one person. It's talking about Lilith, the woman. The first born woman was hermaphroditic. She was parthenogenic. She had babies alone. And it's also, they symbols have like 7 different meanings. So I explain this also on a molecular scale. In my video, The Black Woman is God, it's the 3rd pinned video on my TikTok. It really is, explaining the atom, atom. So he took the electron, the mitochondrial DNA, and created a woman, the first woman. Which would, they call her Lilith. Some people call her Inanna, Yemiya, a lot. The Great Mother. Just depends on where you are in the world. That's what you call her. What the tradition you grew up under. Same energy. It's just, everybody got their version of the story of how they wanted it to go, or how they saw fit, or what have you. And then she also represents she represents Kundalini energy. That's what I wanted to go back to. Which is why she represents the snake, because she's the dark, divine, feminine energy, the Kundalini energy that lays dormant at your spine, that you raise up to the crown chakra in order to be God-like. So by them having sex would actually just be the marriage of the light, divine, feminine energy and the dark, divine, feminine energy. Oh, Baphomet. That's where Baphomet come in at. Like, y'all think, everybody think it's like something evil, but really it's explaining parthenogenesis. It's explaining that in the beginning that humans were hermaphroditic. They had both sexes. That's why he has the titties or whatever. Also, why you see the DNA, the double helix in the womb, it also represents the Kundalini energy at the base of the spine. Horns represents fertility. There's a lot of information in that one symbol. Like, all these stories are about women being parthenogenic, and then there's a male god that comes to save her from what she's created to do, so that, but really, y'all, obviously that's the creation of the patriarchal system. Obviously he's gonna have to have a place in order to even be thought of or respected. He had to create one. He had to make you think he was needed in order to reproduce. And by him making you think that, your thoughts, your womb is creating this reality. You're creating that. But once you know the truth, you can create the truth as opposed to the lie. Which still gives him a place. It's just not where he wants to be. Because this world was filled with women before we became so physical, lowered our consciousness enough to create a male. A woman parthenogenically having a baby, number one, she has to vibrate really high in order to reproduce herself. So when she replicates herself, she's gonna have, it's like cloning herself. She's gonna have a woman. She's gonna have a girl child. But once we became physical enough, like more physically minded, physically based, we're needing more protection. We're needing more, just physical things done. So we have, our body is gonna create what we need. You know what I'm saying? So as you, like if you're in that, I guess, masculine energy to where you're doing masculine things, like, you know what I'm saying, you will produce a masculine child. So they had space. It just wasn't a common thing for a woman to have a male child. So there was just few of them. So they had to create a world where a woman didn't know who she was. A woman don't know what she's capable of. And she feels like she needs something outside of herself in order to do what she's created to do. You don't need anything outside of yourself. That was it. That was my take on Lilith and the parthenogenic start of humanity. Unplugged Minds is that way.